You walk into the barn after a terrible day. You haven't said a word. You haven't even sighed. And yet the horse lifts its head and stares, not at your hands, not at the bucket, at your face. Something about you has already been read, something you didn't even know you were broadcasting. And the strangest part is that the horse knew it before you did. We like to think emotions are private, hidden behind our skin, locked inside our heads where no animal could possibly reach. But the horse standing across from you may be running a quiet, constant calculation about who you are right now in this exact moment. Not whether you like it, not whether you'll feed it, but whether you as staff, to a task, angry, grieving, or scared. In 1947, long before anyone took animal emotion seriously, writers already whispered that horses could feel a person before the person spoke. For decades, scientists dismissed this as folklore, the kind of thing horse people say to sound mystical. Then researchers actually started testing it, and what they found was uncomfortable for everyone who had laughed. Because horses, it turns out, are not just reading us, they may be reading us better than we read each other. So the real question is not whether horses sense emotion. The real question is how much of you a horse can decode in a single glance, and what that says about a creature we have spent thousands of years calling a tool. Let's start with the face. In a now famous study at the University of Sussex, researchers showed domestic horses large photographs of unfamiliar human faces. Some faces were smiling, others were twisted in anger. The horses had never met these people. There was no smell, no voice, no context, no treat involved. Just a photograph held up in front of them. And the horses reacted. When shown angry faces, the horses' heart rates climbed and they consistently turned to look with their left eye, the side of vision connected to the brain hemisphere that processes threat. When shown smiling faces, they stayed calmer and behaved differently. They were not just noticing the picture. They were categorizing it. Anger looked like one thing, joy looked like another, and the horse knew the difference. Think about what that means. It means a horse can read a human face from a photograph with no other clues and respond in a way that matches what the face actually feels. There is no obvious evolutionary reason a prey animal on the open plains should ever have needed to decode human microexpressions. And yet somehow the wiring is there. But faces are only the first layer. Horses also listen. In another set of experiments, researchers played recordings of human voices, the same words spoken either in a happy tone or an angry tone. The horses heard nothing but sound, no visual cues at all, and again the animals responded differently. They oriented their ears, shifted their posture, and showed signs of stress when the angry voice played, even though no one was actually angry in the room with them. The voice alone was enough. And then there is the part most people never think about, the smell. Humans give off a different chemical signature when we are afraid. Our sweat changes. Our breath changes. Tiny shifts in our body chemistry leak into the air, and a horse's nose, with its enormous olfactory range, picks up things our own noses would never register. Recent studies suggest horses can distinguish the scent of human fear from the scent of human calm, and they react to it physically with shifts in heart rate and behavior, even when the person standing in front of them is doing their best to look composed. So picture what is actually happening when you walk up to a horse. The horse sees the tension in your jaw. It sees your shoulders. It sees the angle of your eyes. It hears the pitch of your breath. It smells the chemistry of your stress hormones drifting on the air around you, and it integrates all of that into a single conclusion about you within seconds. You thought you were just saying hello. The horse was running a full emotional scan. Now, here's where it gets stranger. Horses don't just read you in the moment. They remember you. In one study, horses who had previously seen a photograph of an angry human face later reacted with stronger stress responses when they met that same person in real life, even though the person was now wearing a perfectly neutral expression. The horse had filed it away. That face was angry the last time, and the memory shaped how it greeted the human days later. That isn't instinct. That is something close to a grudge, or at least a careful note-taking system. Let me ask you something before we go further. Have you ever felt that a horse or any animal somehow knew exactly what kind of day you were having? the second you walked up to it. Have you ever broken down in tears next to one and felt it lean in, or grow quiet, or stand unusually still? If you have, drop the story in the comments. I read them, and these moments are exactly the kind of thing science is finally catching up to. Now back to it. Because there is a reason horses became so good at this, and the reason is older than us. Horses are prey animals. For millions of years, survival depended on reading the mood of every other living thing in their environment. A wolf that is hunting walks differently than a wolf that is full. A herd member that is tense is warning the rest. The horses that could detect the subtle shift between threat and safety lived. The ones that couldn't didn't pass on their genes. So when we domesticated them around 6,000 years ago, we handed this ancient emotion-reading machinery a new puzzle to solve. Us. And the horse, with its already exquisite radar, simply turned that radar toward the strangest predator it had ever met. The result is a creature that today can tell the difference between your real smile and your polite one, between the calm you are performing and the panic you are hiding, between the rider who is confident and the rider who is faking it. Anyone who has worked with horses knows this in their bones. You cannot lie to a horse. You can lie with your words, you can lie with your face, but the body underneath you, sitting on the back of 1,000 pounds of prey animal, will always tell the truth, and the horse will always feel it. This is part of why horses are now used in therapy. Equine-assisted programs for trauma, anxiety, and grief don't work because horses are magical. They work because horses are honest. A horse will mirror what you actually feel, not what you say you feel. If you walk in pretending to be fine, the horse acts uneasy. The moment you stop pretending, the horse softens. People who have spent years hiding from their own emotions sometimes meet a horse and realize for the first time that someone has actually seen them. And it is not just sadness or fear. Horses respond to joy too, to gentleness, to a steady, grounded calm. They lean into people who feel safe and drift away from people who don't. Some researchers now believe that being around horses can help regulate the human nervous system itself, that the slow, steady rhythm of a relaxed horse's heart can quietly pull a panicking human heart back toward calm. A creature reading our emotions and gently helping us manage them. But there is a harder side to this story too, and it deserves to be said. If horses can feel our anger, our impatience, our frustration this clearly, then the rough handling and harsh training methods that have been used on them for centuries were not just unpleasant for the horse. They were emotionally readable, frightening, and remembered. Every shout, every yank, every moment of human rage, the horse logged it. Which means the kindness we show them is also logged. The quiet voice, the slow hand, the patient breath, none of it is lost on the animal. It is all being read, all being remembered, all being weighed. So let's come back to the question we started with. Do horses read our emotions better than we realize? The honest answer is yes, and probably by more than we are ready to admit. They read our faces, our voices, our scent, our posture, our heartbeat, our memory. They integrate it instantly. They remember it for days. They respond not just to what we do, but to who we are in any given moment. And they do all of this without a single word. Maybe the real shift, the one that changes everything, is realizing that the horse standing across from you is not a passive animal waiting for instructions. It is an emotional witness, a quiet, ancient, attentive presence that has been studying us, perhaps more carefully than we have ever studied it. We thought we were the ones training horses. It turns out, in a much deeper way, they have been studying us right back. If this gave you a new way of looking at the horses in your life, or any animal you've ever felt understood by, hit the like button. It genuinely helps the channel reach more curious people like you. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one, because we are going deeper into the inner worlds of animals you thought you already knew. And tell me in the comments, has a horse, or any animal, ever read you in a way that stopped you in your tracks? Next time, we are stepping into the mind of an animal even stranger than the horse, and asking what it actually sees when it looks at the world. See you there.